On a freezing night, in the middle of a brutal rainstorm, a tiny, abandoned puppy sat alone on the side of the road. Soaked, trembling, and too weak to even cry for help. Cars passed by, people looked away, and it seemed like no one was coming for him. But what happened next would change his life forever, because this forgotten little puppy, who looked like he might not survive the night, was about to begin a transformation no one could have imagined. The rain had been pouring for hours. It wasn't the peaceful kind of rain that makes the world feel calm. This was cold, relentless, unforgiving rain. The kind that turns streets into streams and turns loneliness into something even more cruel. The road was nearly empty. Streetlights flickered weakly through the darkness, and the wind pushed water into every corner of the night. And there, near the edge of the road, was a tiny shape, barely visible through the storm. At first, it didn't even look real. It looked like a pile of wet fur, abandoned and forgotten. But then, it moved, just a little. And in that moment, everything changed. Because that wasn't trash, that was a puppy. A tiny, fragile puppy left alone in the rain. He was heartbreakingly small. His fur, once probably soft and warm, was now soaked through and clinging to his thin little body. Every rib showed through his skin. His paws were covered in mud. His ears drooped from the cold, and his eyes said everything. Fear, exhaustion, confusion, and the quiet sadness of a creature who had already given up expecting kindness from the world. He didn't bark. He didn't run. He didn't even have the strength for that. He just sat there, shivering so hard that his whole body trembled. As cars rushed past him, splashing dirty water across the roadside, the puppy stayed in the same spot, like he didn't know where else to go, like he had been waiting for someone to notice him, waiting for someone to care. Slowly, carefully, I stepped closer. I didn't want to scare him. In a soft voice, I whispered, "It's okay, I'm here." The puppy looked up, but he didn't move. Then, with what little strength he had left, he tried to stand, but his tiny legs gave out almost immediately. He collapsed right back into the mud. That was the moment I knew one thing for certain. If no one helped him now, he might not survive the night. So I took off my jacket and wrapped it around his freezing body. The second the warmth touched him, he made the faintest little sound, almost like a broken whimper, and then I lifted him into my arms. He was so light, far too light. His body was cold, weak, and fragile, but as I held him close, something incredible happened. He tucked his tiny face into my chest, as if somehow, despite everything he had been through, he still wanted to trust. I rushed him home as fast as I could. All the way there, I kept talking to him. "Stay with me. You're safe now. It's okay." Maybe he didn't understand the words, but I hoped he could feel the meaning behind them. When we finally got inside, the first thing I did was dry him off with warm towels. Under the light, I could finally see just how bad his condition really was. He was extremely thin. His paws were raw. There were tiny scratches on his legs. His fur was dirty and tangled, and he looked so tired, like he had been carrying pain far too big for such a small body. I wrapped him in blankets, placed him near a heater, and set down a little bowl of warm food. At first, he only stared at it. Then he looked at me. Then, very slowly, he began to eat. Not fast, not greedily, but carefully, desperately, like a puppy who had learned that food was never guaranteed. That night, I made him a bed from folded blankets beside me because I didn't want him to feel alone ever again. Even though he was finally warm and dry, he still couldn't fully relax. Every small sound made him flinch. Every movement made him open his eyes. He had left the storm behind, but the fear was still inside him. So I stayed close. I sat beside him in the dark, letting him know he wasn't alone. For a while, he simply watched me. Then, after what felt like forever, he slowly reached out and placed one tiny paw on my hand. It was such a small gesture, but in that moment, it meant everything. That little paw said, "I'm scared, but I'm trying." And that was the beginning of his healing. The next morning, I took him to the vet. The diagnosis confirmed what was already obvious. He was malnourished, dehydrated, exhausted, covered in fleas, and emotionally traumatized. But there was good news too. No broken bones, no major disease, no permanent physical damage. He had been neglected, but he still had a chance, a real chance. The vet looked at him and said, "He's a fighter." And that's exactly what he was. I decided to name him Rusty, because even though the world had left him behind, there was still something strong and beautiful inside him, waiting to shine again. The days that followed were not easy. Rusty was safe, but he wasn't healed yet. He would wake up frightened during the night. Sometimes he would sit in corners instead of resting in his bed. If I left the room even for a few seconds, he would whimper like he thought I might never come back. Trauma doesn't disappear overnight. Even when the danger is gone, the fear can stay behind. So healing came slowly. One meal at a time, one bath at a time, one gentle touch at a time. I fed him regularly, cleaned his paws, treated his skin, gave him medicine, and most importantly, I gave him patience. I talked to him constantly in a calm voice so he would learn that not every human hand brings pain, and not every voice means danger. And little by little, Rusty started to change. By the second week, his tail started wagging more often. By the third week, he began following me everywhere, from room to room, like a tiny shadow with 4 paws. Then one day, something beautiful happened. Rusty tried to play. He grabbed the edge of my sock with his little mouth and gave it the smallest tug. I looked down, and there he was, tail wagging wildly, eyes shining with mischief. For the first time, I saw something I hadn't seen on that stormy night. Joy, real joy. From that moment on, his true personality began to shine. He chased leaves like they were treasure.
You're tough
He
now.
stumbled around carrying toys
Yes,
bigger than
you
himself.
are. Good boy.
He tilted his head whenever I talked to him, as if he understood every word. And slowly, the puppy who once looked broken by the world began to look like he belonged in it. As the weeks passed, Rusty transformed in every possible way. His body grew stronger. His coat became soft and healthy. The wounds on his paws healed. The sadness in his eyes faded, and in its place came trust, excitement, and life. He ran with confidence. He played without fear. He greeted each new day like it was a gift. And the most incredible part was this: the puppy who once trembled in silence now wagged his tail at the world. The puppy who had once been abandoned now knew what it meant to be loved. The puppy left in the rain had become full of warmth, energy, and happiness. It was hard to believe he was the same
After
little
weeks of
soul I
recovery,
had found on the
this
roadside.
is the moment we've
But he
waited
was.
for.
and that's
True
what made his
freedom.
transformation so powerful. One day, I took Rusty back to the same road where I had found him, but this time there was no storm, no darkness, no trembling puppy waiting to be noticed. Instead, there was Rusty, healthy, curious, and full of life. He sniffed the grass, pulled gently on the leash, and even tried to splash in a puddle. I stood there looking at the exact place where he had once sat alone, cold and forgotten. Then I looked at him, and I realized just how far he had come, not just physically, but emotionally. The biggest transformation wasn't in his body, it was in his heart. Rusty's story is more than just a rescue. It's a reminder.
A reminder that even the smallest act of kindness can save a life. A reminder that healing takes time, but love can do incredible things. And a reminder that sometimes the ones the world abandons end up becoming the most beautiful miracles of all. This tiny puppy was left alone in the rain, but today he is safe, loved, and thriving. And that is the power of a second chance. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more unforgettable rescue journeys.
Once abandoned,
Because
now
every
healed
animal
and
deserves
whole.
hope, and
A
every
testament to the
rescue
power of
deserves to
resilience
be
and love.
remembered.